Hey, 8th graders, welcome to class. Let's dive right into today's lesson, where we're going to learn how to cut through all the noise of the world by identifying the actual core of any argument. Seriously, this is an absolutely crucial skill, not just for reading and writing, but honestly just for navigating everyday life. We are learning how to find the claim.
Here's our quick roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with the heart of the argument, look at why finding claims matters, compare direct versus implied claims, learn exactly how to spot the real target, and finish up with our godly learner philosophy. All right, let's jump right into part 1, the heart of the argument. So, let's start with our absolute foundation here. Every single argument starts with a claim. But, what exactly is a claim? Well, it's the main point the author is desperately trying to convince you to believe or accept. Just think of it as the big statement they want you to walk away with. Whenever someone is trying to persuade you, whether it's a writer in a news article or literally just your friend trying to convince you which movie to watch this weekend, this big statement is the exact thing they want you to accept as absolute truth.
It's kind of like archery. Finding the claim is exactly like knowing where the target is. Imagine trying to shoot an arrow with a blindfold on. No way, right? That wouldn't make any sense at all. Well, if you read an argument and you don't know where the target is, you simply won't know if the argument actually hits the mark. You won't be able to evaluate if their facts are any good because, you don't even know what they're aiming at.
Moving right along to part 2, why finding claims matters.
Now, what's really interesting is seeing how this academic skill actually protects your mind out there in the real world. This isn't just about passing a reading test, guys. It's about life. As Christians, we're commanded to use discernment. 1 Thessalonians 5:21 tells us to test all things, hold fast what is good. We are called to carefully examine and test the arguments floating around us. By identifying the specific claim someone is making, we can evaluate it against the truth and hold on to only what is actually true and good.
Because, let's face it, every single day, people are launching arrows of persuasion at you, trying to hit your target. Knowing how to find their claim allows you to evaluate their evidence rather than just getting swept up in your emotions. When you know what the claim is, you completely avoid being easily swayed by some flashy advertisement or a super emotional speech. You can think critically, respond thoughtfully, and make your decisions based on real evidence. Whether you're choosing an important cause to support or evaluating new policy ideas, spotting the claim puts you firmly in control.
Okay, part 3, direct versus implied claims.
Here's the catch. Claims aren't always dressed the exact same way. Sometimes they wear a bright neon vest, and other times they're basically wearing camouflage. For example, take the statement, "Schools should start later in the morning to improve student learning." That is a direct claim. The target is painted clearly and brightly for you. There's zero guessing involved. But consider this alternative. Studies show teens need 8 hours of sleep, yet schools begin before 8 a.m. Do you see the difference there? The author hasn't outright said what they want, but you have to connect the evidence to realize the implied target is still schools should start later. As an 8th grader, your job is to play detective and uncover those sneaky implied claims.
Which brings us to part 4, spotting the real target.
So how do we actually hunt down these claims in our reading assignments? Well, knowing exactly where to look is half the battle. By following these 3 simple steps, you can confidently locate the central target even when a text is totally crowded with multiple ideas. First up, check the introduction or the conclusion. Authors almost always place their strongest summary statements right there. Second, if you can't find a direct statement, connect the reasoning and the evidence to figure out the implied claim, just like we did with that sleep study a minute ago. And third, be really careful to separate the main central claim from smaller subpoints. An author might have several good ideas along the way, but there is always one overarching target they want you to focus on.
Let's do a quick practice round right now. Listen to this statement and ask yourself, is this a claim or is it evidence? A study found that 80% of teens are sleep deprived. Think about it. Ask yourself if that statement is the main point trying to persuade you of a whole new belief, or if it's just a factual arrow used to hit a larger target. Well, because it's citing a specific study and throwing out a statistic, this is evidence. The author is just using this fact to support a much bigger claim, something like, we really need to change the school schedule.
All right, class, so here is your homework mission for today to lock all this in. You've got 5 specific steps for your assignment. First, you're going to define claim in your own words. Second, you'll find the actual claim in the reading paragraph provided about exercise. Third, you'll explain why this skill is so important in real life. Fourth, identify the sleep study statement we just practiced. And finally, you get to write your very own direct claim about why reading is important. Be clear and aim straight for the bullseye.
And finally, Part 5, the Godly Learner Philosophy.
Let's zoom out for a second to the big picture. Why does HeroesMart Academy actually care so much about your critical thinking and reading skills? Well, Romans chapter 8 gives us a crucial lesson. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. True education, it isn't just about making you smarter so you can go win arguments. It's about keeping your mind spiritually grounded so you can experience true life and peace. Being spiritually minded requires us to analyze the messages the world throws at us and deliberately filter them through the truth of God's Word.
Because true education plus biblical morality equals wise, God-honoring choices. This equation is literally the heartbeat of HeroesMart Academy. We intertwine biblical morality with your education because, honestly, education without morality can actually hurt you. Simply gaining intelligence just makes you more capable. But if you don't have a solid moral compass, you might just be capable of making bigger mistakes. Knowledge and intelligence should help you make wise, God-honoring choices rather than simply making you more capable. That is exactly why we must always combine our academic skills, like identifying a claim, with God's wisdom. We want you to pursue academic excellence while keeping your mind completely centered on God, truth, wisdom, and righteous choices.
So I want to leave you with this one question to think about. How will you use your sharpened intellect today to seek truth, evaluate the world's claims, and honor God? As you step out into a world full of competing arguments and nonstop media, just remember to keep your eyes on the target, test all things, and always pursue righteous choices. Great job today, 8th graders. Go tackle that homework mission, and I will see you in the next lesson.